Nobody tells you this about poor fathers. They don't just work hard. They disappear inside responsibility. You see a man leaving home early in the morning. Maybe you think he's just going to work. Just another routine day. But what you don't see is the weight he carries before the day even begins. Before the sun rises. His mind is already awake. Thinking about rent. Thinking about food. Thinking about school fees. Thinking about how to stretch a small income across a very large responsibility. Poor fathers don't have the luxury of waking up slowly. There is no calm morning coffee. No quiet moment to plan the day. Because survival does not wait. While the world is still sleeping, he is already preparing himself for another day of pressure. Not pressure for status. Not pressure for luxury. Pressure just to keep life running. To keep the lights on. To keep food on the table. To keep his children believing that everything is okay. And that's the strange thing about responsibility. The heavier it gets, the quieter a man becomes. Poor fathers rarely talk about their struggles. Not because the struggles aren't real, but because talking about them doesn't solve them. So instead of complaining, they calculate. Every night becomes a small meeting. Inside their mind. Salary. Bills. Groceries. School expenses. Numbers moving around. Like pieces on a chessboard. Trying to make everything fit. Trying to make sure nothing collapses. And sometimes they lose that game. Unexpected expenses arrive. A medical bill. A broken appliance. A school payment due sooner than expected. Suddenly the numbers stop working. But the responsibility doesn't stop. So they adjust. They sacrifice small things. No one notices. Maybe they stop buying something for themselves. Maybe they skip a meal. Maybe they work extra hours. Even when their body is already tired. You rarely see these decisions. Because poor fathers are experts at hiding struggle. They know something important. Children should not feel the full weight of survival. So they carry most of it alone. They smile at dinner. They ask about school. They listen to stories about homework and friends. But inside their mind, the calculations continue. What will next month look like? Can the rent still be paid? Will the job remain stable? These questions don't disappear. When the day ends, they follow him into the night. And yet, despite all this pressure, poor fathers still try to build hope. They encourage their children to study. They push them to aim higher. Not because their own life was easy, but because it wasn't. They know exactly how heavy an unstable life can be. They know what it feels like to worry about money every single month. So they fight quietly to give their children a different future. Even if that means their own present remains difficult. This is the part of fatherhood people rarely talk about. The invisible effort. The silent discipline. The constant responsibility. That never takes a day off. A poor father may not give expensive gifts. He may not provide luxury. But what he gives costs him something far greater. Energy. Health. Peace of mind. Years of strength. Spent holding a family together. And most of the time, no one applauds that effort. Because responsibility is not dramatic. It is repetitive. Wake up. Work. Pay bills. Repeat. Day after day. Year after year. Until one day, you grow older. And suddenly understand. The quiet man, who seemed ordinary, was carrying an extraordinary burden. And he carried it. So that your life could feel normal. So the next time you think about what your father provided, don't measure it only by money. Measure it by the pressure he absorbed. Measure it by the exhaustion he hid. Measure it by the opportunities his sacrifice created. Because sometimes, the strongest love in the world is the love that works silently, every single day. And poor fathers know that kind of love better than anyone.